Amber Heard Aquaman 2 drama, Mr. Potato Head gets cancelled, and Britney Spears' father reacts. All of that and a lot more, but first, if you could please tap that like button, we would really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin the InformOverload weekly roundup. First things first, let's begin with this story about Britney Spears' father weighing in on what the public has been saying about him and how he has treated his daughter. Many fans of Britney believe that her father, Jamie, wanted to continue the conservatorship, but through his lawyer via CNN, he addressed this ongoing public interest. In the statement, he said, "Jamie would love nothing more than to see Britney not need a conservatorship. Whether or not there is an end to the conservatorship really depends on Britney. If she wants to end her conservatorship, she can file a petition to end it." The conservatorship first was implemented back in 2008 and granted Jamie legal control over Britney's financial and personal assets estimated to be worth $60 million. Jamie's lawyer also went on to say, "Jamie is not suggesting that he is the perfect dad or that he would receive any Father of the Year award. Like any parent, he doesn't always see eye to eye on what Britney may want, but Jamie believes every single decision he has made has been in her best interest." Now, this bit from his lawyer is absolute gaslighting. Jamie says that he would love to see the conservatorship to end, and then has the audacity to say that if she wants to end her conservatorship, she can file a petition to end it. Britney Spears has already requested to be removed from this twice, and both times she was denied. Let's just hope her lawyers can work on a better approach for the next time she attempts to have him removed. With that though, let's send it over to Jared Bronte for some science. Jared, are you with us?
Science! Thank you, Johnny. And now, friends, it's time for some science! Depending on how you interpret this, it's either very interesting or potentially threatening, as a specific type of fish have shown a level of intelligence we weren't aware they're capable of. Until now. Sounds like a bad horror movie, but we'll leave that for Sharknado. Welcome to the 2020s. Gonna be a whole decade of wacky BS. So the Cephalopod is what's been making headlines, as it's been reported a handful have passed a cognitive test designed for children. Pretty wild, eh? Talk about science! Specifically speaking, the cuttlefish is what I'm hailing the new genius of the waters, but it seems the rest of the science community isn't quite there yet. Although cephalopods include cuttlefish, octopus, squid, and nautilus, the experiment or testing was done on cuttlefish only, which again, rulers of the water. The test used in the experiment is popularly known as the marshmallow test, in which a child is presented two options: eat the one marshmallow in front of them, or wait 15 minutes and get a second marshmallow to eat. This test was originally created to determine at what age approximately humans learn that delayed gratification can lead to a better outcome later on. Cuttlefish unfortunately don't like marshmallows, but I do. But they were offered a different, more cuttlefishy type meal. The research, led by Alexandra Schnell, great name, from the University of Cambridge, conducted at the Marine Biological Laboratory, wow, that was a mouthful, has led to some interesting discoveries. In a press release, Schnell explained cuttlefish in the present study were all able to wait for the better reward and tolerated delays for up to 50 to 130 seconds, which is comparable to what we see in large-brained vertebrates such as chimpanzees, crows, and parrots. And what's even more interesting is the cuttlefish who performed well with the marshmallow test were then tested again. This time they were tested on visual cues, where one cue meant food and the other meant none. When they switched what the symbols meant, the cuttlefish quickly adapted. They're getting smarter, folks, thanks to science? Not a good thing, so I'm a little confused as to whether or not I should be excited. Science? Schnell ended off with explaining that, quote, "Cuttlefish spend most of their time camouflaging, sitting and waiting, punctuated by brief periods of foraging. They break camouflage when they forage, so they are exposed to every predator in the ocean that wants to eat them. We speculate that delayed gratification may have evolved as a byproduct of this, so the cuttlefish can optimize foraging by waiting to choose better quality food." So they pretty much just YOLO it because they're like, well, we may die anyway, so might as well make it worth the risk. Wait a little bit longer, get some food. Nice. Science. Bro. Over to Brie.
Thanks, Jared, and happy Friday, IO fam. So cancel culture has now infiltrated the toy aisle. Yes, it has gone from the land of Twitter and Instagram to Toys R Us. Crazy. The beloved kids toy Mr. Potato Head is the latest entity to be canceled, and people aren't happy about it. I know, someone/something getting canceled and they're mad about it? Crazy. Let me explain. So last week, Hasbro, the makers of Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, tweeted out saying that Mr. Potato Head was getting a name change and rebrand to make it more gender neutral. People then lost their minds, saying that this toy has fallen victim to cancel culture because of this new change. Angry tweets then started to flood in, as they do, where potato fans from all walks of life came to defend the toy. People have called the change pathetic, ludicrous, and some even said that humanity is evolving backwards because of this change. A little dramatic, judging by the fact that this is a plastic spud, but I digress. Hasbro was forced to release a statement to confront this madness, saying that the changes coming to the potato family include dropping the Mr. and Mrs. titles from the toys, but not changing their appearance. The whole point of this change was to, quote, promote gender equality and inclusion, but a lot of angry Twitter users voiced how these toys never really made them think about gender in the first place, stating that this was just a toy to them regardless of whether it was Mrs. Mrs. or Mr. But what do you guys think? Is it a welcome change, or are you as mad as Twitter? Let us know down in the comments. And now over to Johnny for some feel-good news.
Thanks for those updates, Bree. Alright folks, now let's move on to some feel-good news, shall we? So I'm sure you've heard by now that Texas had a massive winter storm that wiped out the power grid, leaving many without electricity as temperatures dropped. Although thanks to a man named Jim Mattress Mac Mickenville, a lot of people were saved. You see, out of the kindness of his heart, Jim opened up 2 of his gallery furniture locations as impromptu warming stations. Then over the course of a 72-hour period, he and his staff provided 3,000 plus meals and overnight accommodations to more than 700 Houston residents. What's amazing is that this isn't even the first time that Mattress Mac has gone above and beyond for his fellow Texans. The Good Samaritan welcomed refugees from Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and in 2017 he also gave support to victims of Hurricane Harvey. The store also made sure to still follow all COVID-19 protocols while operating as well, which is quite impressive, and despite the majority of the expense coming out of Jim's pocket, to him that's the way it should be. Jim tells the press, "To whom much has been given, much is expected. We've benefited from public support over the years, so it's our obligation to open our doors and let people come in to get a respite from the storm. It's the right thing to do," which is just an incredible perspective to have, and we're happy we could feature this story for the Feel Good News section this week. If you'd like to support Jim's GoFundMe so that he can, continue to provide further assistance to more people, I will make sure to put that in the description down below. With that though, let's send it over to the Spill Zone with Mackenzie for our lead story.
Thanks, Johnny. So we got some Amber Turd news on the Spill Zone today. So there was a rumor brewing over the weekend that the actress had finally been fired from the Aquaman franchise and would not be starring in Aquaman 2 anymore, with her being replaced with the lovely Emilia Clarke. And it was reported that the reason she was being fired was not because of her legal battle with Johnny Depp or terrible public opinion of her, but rather because she had gained too much weight before filming the movie. Which is honestly kind of not gonna lie, like even for Amber Heard. A source allegedly told Australian site Sausage Roll, quote, "Amber Heard did not pass her physical examination. She's put on some pounds and is in terrible shape. There's a clause in her contract which says she's required to be in good form ahead of shooting, and she violated that." And people were so overjoyed by the news that she was fired for any reason that Amber Heard began trending on Twitter over the weekend, with people celebrating the fact that it seemed like she had finally received some repercussions for her actions against Johnny Depp. But unfortunately, I have to report that the rumor was sadly not true. Ryan Parker, senior staff writer for The Hollywood Reporter, reported, quote, "Told by a reliable source that reports of Amber Heard being fired off Aquaman 2 are inaccurate." And honestly, this makes sense to me because I feel like they would have released a statement if they actually did fire her. I still just cannot believe that she is not fired, with the petition to fire her reaching 1.8 million signatures. I swear at this point this has to be one of the most signed petitions ever. But I guess now all we can do as consumers is vote with our dollars, and if the box office for Aquaman 2 tanks, they will be forced to take some much needed action against Amber. But you guys already know I gotta ask you to spam the chat with Amber Turd. You guys know I just love that one. Just a classic, you know what I mean? We need to see it whenever we can. Now back to Johnny.
Thanks so much for those updates, Mackenzie. Well, folks, that has been today's show, but before we get out of here, let's check out some of your comments from our last weekly roundup. Jay Marshall says, "Letting aliens go straight to the source when abducting their cows if you own that property outside Area 51. I mean, hey, that would make sense. If they were abducting cows, the smart thing for the government to do would be to just buy up all that real estate and just give them their offerings. If they only want cows, give them the cows. We can make more." IQ says, "Stealing dogs is low. I hope that they are caught." Yeah, we certainly hope that they're caught, and I really hope that this man gets justice. I mean, I can't believe he was shot over dogs that weren't even his. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Freya Blight says, "Sending love and appreciation to the crew. You all make our week better." Aw, thank you so much, Freya. We appreciate your comment. Milk says, "Imagine being shot over dogs. People are insane. This really didn't have to happen. Thank goodness Mr. Fisher is alive and recovering. Let's wish him a speedy recovery because that was absolutely traumatizing." Tara says, "I would never skip to a timestamp. I love each corner. You girls and guys are the best." Aw, thanks so much, Tara. I know some people like to skip to just the stories that they want to hear, so we'll always put the timestamps there, but we appreciate you nonetheless. But for now, that has been today's show. Big thanks to Jared Bronstein, Bree Room, Mackenzie Smith, and our editing god, Daniela. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube. Let's go. It's roundup time.
All right, it's roundup time. Bars.
They break camouflage when they forage. Forage. Yeah, I'm real fancy. They break camouflage when they forage. Why can't I say it now?
So cancel culture has...
Gotta hydrate.
And I have a link to some tweets you can just put over that with like people making fun of her basically.
Freya Blight says, sending love and appreciation to the crew. You all make our week better. Aw, thank you so much, Freya, and your comment made my week better. So thank you for that. Wow, we got through it. That was rough, but we did it.